Well, good morning everyone. I just wanted to inform all the Great Australian Party members and certainly every Australian that follows me. It is really hot here in Perth. As you can see, I'll just flip you around here. My trial was to commence today in the Magistrates Court, and there it is there. It is now 10:15. Now, this trial was to be set down for, well, certainly 2 or 3 days, and it was thrown out in less than 2 minutes. And the Channel 10 news reporter basically said, I told her, and I said I'm getting that quick around the track of the courts that my time's better than Black Caviar and Phar Lap. So I'm certainly a horse to back. I'll just put you through to Wayne and Peter, who came as my witnesses, and they can tell you and confirm it was done in less than 2 minutes. Wayne, what do you think?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Oh, hang on, I'll put the microphone near, hang on. There you go, speaking of the microphone, I think everyone can hear us.
Yeah, it was unbelievable how quick it happened. I looked through the window there and the police prosecutor had his head down in shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
So when you bring them to the point that they folded, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that tells you something's going on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was called up just before 10 and I was out in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, amazing.
Peter, what did you think? Just to let you know, Pete and that are my witnesses. They came down as my witnesses.
Oh, right. It's unbelievable what happened, because it happened so quick.
Just look into the camera, mate.
I didn't believe what was happening, and he was out the door. So I don't know what we come along for.
Well, there's a nice little boozer down the road, boys. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just bring you around again, just because I want to take you through the evidence that they find. Okay, so look, I want to take you through it because this is how we did it. So what we had is we had lawyers right up to the 11th hour. Now, what essentially happened, a without prejudice letter was written by the prosecutor for the West Australian Police, who was prosecuting on an unsigned summons, so there was never an originating application. So you can actually go onto the Criminal Procedure Act and have a look at it. It's in the sections 20, 21, wherever it is, 23. Schedule 1 must be signed if it's to be commenced in the WA Police. Well, it was unsigned, so that was out of time anyway, but putting all that aside, a without prejudice deal was put to the lawyer that I had on the time, and I won't mention them because it was without prejudice, and it was essentially to drop the charge from assaulting a public officer to a common assault. Now, I could never consent to that, because I'll tell you why. It's basically saying that if you touch someone in a train or when you're off to the footy and your shoulders actually touch, they claim that to be an assault because you haven't had consent. So why would I consent to run something like that when it would set a case precedent for everyone that's going to the football, and certainly the public would become liable for anyone to take a simple attack on someone else for assault. So no, I would never agree to that. So what I did is I represented myself, and I'm going to show you why. And what we have been able to do is extract the unlawfulness of this idiot who claimed to have authority. He claimed to be appointed by the Attorney General of Western Australia, and we've made inquiries with the Attorney General's Department from time to time, and they assure me that they are not aware of this person. But then what we do, and I say that person because it's in the office of his corporate role, Also, what I was able to do is to get the consent of the chief or the chief bailiff out of Baycorp to take the stand. I was going to cross-examine him because he believes he delegates his powers, but under the Sheriff's Act and under law there can be no delegation. Okay, you can't, an entity receiving a delegation can't on-delegate. So he went down quicker than a grand piano out of a 10-storey building. So, but let me take you to this, because this is really gonna inform a lot of people why this guy took off and why he's a dry blower. So let me bring you around. Okay, so his evidence was, now you got to be very, I'm going to take you nice and slowly, okay? Notice of delegation, Sheriff Officer S.66. It says, pursuant to Section 66 of the Fines, Penalty, Infringement, Notice Enforcement Act 1994, I, John Anthony Claridge, hereby delegate my functions, so it's in his name, my functions under Part 7 of the said Act, which is the Fines, Penalties, Infringement, Notice Enforcement Act 1994, this to Terence Kerr, which is a corporation delegate, see, and authorise you to assist me, this is him, John Anthony Kellich, from time to time, directed to you by me, in particular to execute any warrant of the Registrar of the Fines Enforcement Registry direction to you by me. Okay. Well, let's go and have a look at the instrument he had on the day, which is here. I've got all my file. Well, that doesn't give him authority under the Civil Judgment Enforcement Act 2004 and Property Seizure and Delivery Order, real property. Now, so the police acted on an assumption that this guy had delegated authority, notwithstanding the sheriff can't go 50 mile out of Perth or out of the CBD, and the Transfer of Land Act says quite clear, here it is here, Section 63, no certificate of title created and registered upon an application to bring land under this Act, or upon an application to be registered as proprietor on a transmission shall, which is command, be impeached or defeasible by reason or on account of any informality or irregularity in the application or in the proceedings previous provisions herein contained shall be received in all courts of law as evidence of the particulars therein set. Now, if we go here, what happens is it's got to be conclusive evidence, and it's got to be actually registered on the certificate of title. So, see, certificate conclusive evidence of title. So, we go back to Mr. Manalini, who didn't bank with this bloody bank, and we have a look at what he had here. So here it is. This is Rural Bank, Division of Bendigo Adelaide Bank Limited, different ABN number, okay? And then they say that on the 6th of July 2021, the Supreme Court of West Australia issued a property seizure delivery order authorising the sheriff, that's not the bailiff, to enter the property, evict persons not entitled to be there. Well, Mr. Manalini was definitely entitled to be there because he was the proprietor. So, if we were to go to Mr. Manalini's title, you can see his mortgagee is Elders Rural Bank Limited with a different ABN number and a different address, not what is claimed on this property seizure delivery order. And let me tell you something here. It's a sad state of affairs because I speak from experience. The property seizure delivery order, and this is a real problem for them now, is that any guy purports to be a sheriff can just walk into the local police station, because the police station would never get off their arse. In actual fact, we can prove with all the evidence now that they acted in a civil matter, so we are taking personal action against these police officers from preventing us from returning home. But putting that to one side, they basically open the farm gate when the bank claims to have a mortgage interest in the land and no other, and they steal all the assets, antiques, everything. The receivers get a hold of all the other chattels that aren't actually fixtures to the land. So they gave no time for Mr. Manalini to pack up all his tractors and machinery, and including on my place. I had $3.2 million worth of grain in a grain bag in big storage. So this has become a very, very serious matter, and I'm taking the public with me, and you are now seeing within minutes we can have the police turfed out on the pavement, and notwithstanding they don't represent the Crown at law, which is another serious position. So that's I'm going well in this footy game. The ball was bounced, and we pretty much won the game because the other side ran off the field. So and rightly so. They had nothing. And for the record, I did not touch this individual. I would never touch it. I do push things to the limit, but I keep it civil. I don't step into criminal, okay? I am a person who's been brought up the right way. I know people say, Cullett, and you're always in court, but remember this, I don't pick the fights. They pick the fights with me, and for good reasons, because now Mr. Stone, I'll let you listen to Mr. Stone how he feels since he's been dispossessed of a 50,000 acre farm. Peter, just tell us how you feel how Estelle Blewett from Cause Chambers, being a Wesfarmers landmark agent, dispossessed you of 40,000 acres.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was leasing up to 40,000.
Yeah, but you're farming 40,000.
Yeah, we were farming 40,000 acres.
So that's a pretty big backyard.
It was huge, but I had 3 boys with us.
Yeah.
And yes, it just tipped our family upside down.
Yeah. And how did your boys feel with it all?
Oh, well, they're still not over it today.
Yeah.
Because they spent 25 years on it and I spent over 50.
And it was a family farm?
It was a family farm.
All handed down through the generations?
Yeah, and created more as we went along.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And at the time, like all of us, we didn't know what the hell was going on. Police were turning up and just throwing us off.
That's right.
And wouldn't let us back home. They said they'd arrest us and put us in jail.
In jail if we didn't go.
Yeah.
And that was the scary part. I would have stood that one, but I didn't want my wife to be in amongst that.
And how's it affected your wife?
Oh, well, it's really knocked her around too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
no.
Would you love to go home?
Of course I would.
You just want to go home
Yes,
to your farm,
yes,
don't you?
yeah.
And produce for Australia.
Yeah, and the other side of it is we cleared a hell of a lot of it, right from bush.
Yeah.
So.
And these banker wankers just come in 2 minutes. They're a bit like cutting down an old 300-year tree. They just come in and cut it down and leave it to rot so the white ants get it.
That's right. No, they don't appreciate how much work went into those properties.
Yeah.
And when a farmer is a farmer, he loves the land and tries to do the best by it, and also the same for his stock.
Yeah.
These ones that say that you can't look after your stock. Well, that's number one. You do look after your stock because
tell the people how many head of sheep you had.
We had 23,000 head.
So 23,000 head of sheep. What would those sheep be worth now at $200 a leg?
Well,
46.
When we left, it was between $30 and $50 a head.
Yeah.
And today they're 150 to 250.
Yeah, so they've said average.
So
that's
the average.
A few million there, isn't it? Multi-millions.
Multi-millions. and they took me for 4 million.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
Okay. No worries. Wayne, how do you feel now that we've shown this? He's a dry blower, and he could never have taken the farm. So the person that has bought it off. They could never sell it because you haven't consented.
No, I didn't.
So he never took it. He
anything,
never
no.
handed it over.
No, I never signed it.
No,
to sell
you
it or
didn't
anything,
consent.
no.
We fought them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good win for us. So we'll be just walking back on our farms. Yeah.
Yeah, can you just tell the people for the record that you were facing me at all times, and that was in the Tabman's video. Did you ever see me strike out, or what did he say?
Hit you on the back of the.
No, he said whacked. He said whacked me on the back of the neck. Now you went up behind him and
Yeah,
took a photo.
There was no mark there.
There was no, yeah.
No, I
And
seen
you were
it all,
watching
but
all
there's
the
nothing,
time.
nothing happened. No.
That's right. So you saw it, and
Yeah.
nothing. Our shoulders didn't touch nothing.
No.
In actual fact, they hit us at the start,
Yeah,
didn't they, to
yeah.
go onto the place,
Oh,
and
they
the police.
Yeah, they didn't even show any authority to force their way on.
Yeah. Well, now we got them.
Yeah, definitely. They'll be suffering
Absolutely.
when we're finished with them.
Yeah. Karma's a beautiful thing. All right. Well, there's the update. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was actually going to wear my new legal wig, my new horsehair. I prefer it out of a belly fleece of a sheep. You know, you can't get more wider than a fresh a belly fleece off a sheep and put that over your head. You'd get very well recognised down here. I thought if they were to turn around and say, Mr. Cullerton, you know, you need to remove your headdress, I would say, sir, it is a religious headdress. I believe I'm the prosecutor here today, and just to let you know, we won it within less than 2 minutes. Thank you very much. There's the update. Thanks for everyone supporting me. I just want to show you we can get our country back. You hold them to account. We have the law. Let's go get them. God bless and